So, is the housing market finally about to turn a corner? We've been in this slowdown for a while now, but a new forecast for 2026 is pointing to a huge rebound. Let's dig in and break down what's really going on. Yeah, let's be honest. For the last 3 years, things have been, well, pretty sluggish. Home sales have been a real letdown, and it's left pretty much everyone, buyers and sellers, feeling kind of stuck.
But hold on, because a big change could be right around the corner. The chief economist over at the National Association of Realtors is predicting a massive, get this, 14% jump in existing home sales in 2026. Wow, that's not just a small bump, that's a huge rebound.
So, the big question is, right? Is this for real? Are we actually looking at a sustainable housing rebound? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. We're going to look at the forecasts, the economic gears turning behind the scenes, and maybe most interestingly, who's actually out there buying houses right now. All right, first things first. To really get this prediction, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room, mortgage rates. Let's unpack the big economic forces that are going to make or break this whole thing. Okay, so look at this timeline. It really tells the story, doesn't it? We all felt that painful spike back in 2022. Ouch. Right now, we're sitting around 6.3%. The forecast says they might tick up a bit next year, but the real kicker is 2026. The prediction is a drop to 6%. And that could be the magic number that finally gets the market moving again.
So you're probably asking, why the drop? What's changing? Well, a huge piece of this puzzle is the Federal Reserve. Their focus is completely shifting. For what feels like forever, their one and only enemy was inflation, right? Trying to wrestle that down. But now their attention is pivoting to a new problem, a weakening job market.
And this is their new playbook. The number one goal now? Avoid a recession at all costs. And how are they going to do that? By cutting short-term interest rates. The thinking is we'll see one more cut this December and then two more next year. That's the stuff that should really help nudge those mortgage rates down. Okay, so that's the big economic picture. But it's not just about numbers and rates. It's about people. And this is where things get really fascinating, because there's a pretty surprising shift happening in who is actually buying a home these days. Okay, get ready for this one, because it's a shocker. The median age for a first-time home buyer, it's not late 20s or early 30s anymore, it's 40. 40. That's not just a tiny adjustment, that's a completely different story about what the home buying journey looks like now. And it's not just first-timers. For repeat buyers, people on their second or third home, the median age has jumped all the way to 62. 62. So yeah, the whole profile of who's out there shopping for a house is getting way, way older.
And Jessica Lotz, the deputy chief economist at NAR, really hits the nail on the head. She says not only are they middle-aged, but we also see that they have higher incomes. So we're not just talking about older buyers. We're talking about more established, financially secure people jumping into the market.
And when you have older buyers with more money, it totally changes the kind of household we're seeing. For one, there are way more single people buying houses all by themselves. It also means fewer buyers have kids under 18 living at home. And think about the ripple effect of that age-old obsession with finding the perfect school district. It's just not the top priority it used to be for a lot of folks. So if it's not for the perfect school, what is pushing people to move? Well, that brings us to this really interesting new trend, and it has a great name, the grandbaby effect. And look at this comparison. It's a huge shift in how we live. People used to stay in their homes for, 6 or 7 years? Now it's 11 years on average. And the number one reason to pack up and move? It's not for a new job anymore. Not even close. Today, the biggest motivator is just to be closer to friends and family. And that right there, that is the grandbaby effect in a nutshell. Think about it. We just said the median repeat buyer is 62. So of course, they're not chasing a career change. They're moving to be near their grandkids. It's completely changing why people decide to sell and buy a new home. Okay, so we've got the who and the why. Let's get to the final piece of this puzzle, the how. As in, how are people actually paying for these houses? And trust me, there are some real surprises in here. Now check this out. Even with prices as high as they are, 8% of first-time home buyers are paying all cash. 8%. Now, I know it's not a huge slice of the pie, but it tells you a lot about the kind of financial firepower this older group of buyers has. So what about the other 92% who get a mortgage? Where's that down payment coming from? Well, this is another really interesting twist. Instead of hitting up the bank of mom and dad, which used to be so common, these older first time buyers are tapping into their own investments. We're talking stocks, 401ks. It's a whole new level of financial independence.
So let's wrap this up. It really looks like a housing rebound could be on the way, probably thanks to lower mortgage rates. But the game has totally changed. The players are older, they're moving to be in their family, and they're using their own money in new ways. It really makes you wonder, with all these changes, what does the American dream of owning a home even look like anymore?